that I use for travel as I head back and forth from Edinburgh to Glasgow. So this is pretty much my apps page for when I travel on my phone. So I have a number of airline apps, I have a number of train apps, and certainly things like Disneyland for when I hit Disneyland Paris, etc. You can't go wrong with having an airline app on your phone. You can control your bookings, you can control your account details, and you can also double check on all of your flight details for the day that you're traveling. So I typically only have the airlines that I fly with, so typically Air Canada, and these days British Airways. I happen to have Delta on here because for this particular trip I'm flying Delta via Atlanta and Detroit to and from the UK. One app that's really good having is in the UK is your Railcard app. You can get some great discounts. So for the Southeast, you can get a network Railcard, and that covers me and gives me discounts between London and Newbury, and even parts to the Southeast a bit as well. So when I'm paying for those tickets, it's much cheaper than if I were paying full price. One other trick is getting a Two Together Railcard. The Two Together Railcard helps Scott and I to travel together and get discounts for when we go to places like Cardiff. And I think potentially the Southeast when we see our friends Eric and Mark in Kent. So the Two Together Railcard is fantastic. You have to be traveling together in order to get the discounts. You can't just be one of you. Scott also has his own network railcard, so when he goes off by himself to Bath and a few other places, he'll get the discounts that I'm receiving. The National Rail Inquiries app, so it's an older app, but it's still very useful for finding live trains, etc. So for example, if I want to see trains that are going from let's say Pankhurst to Margate today, I can actually pull those up. I often will use the Virgin Trains app for finding out or for booking my tickets. I found it's very reliable business-wise if you're paying with corporate Amex or an American Express card like I am. Works very well with Visa as well. I don't have a MasterCard, so I can't talk to that. I had some problems with the GWR app and with the GWR website. And that's typically who I take the train with when I go from Paddington to Newbury. So I just said, forget it, I'll use a more reliable company. And the interesting thing is, every train company has to sell each other's train company tickets. There's no pricing. If I recall correctly, the tariffs are government set. So you're getting the same price regardless of which company you travel with. The interesting thing is if you travel, say, with Virgin Trains, you get actual points with Virgin. So Virgin as an airline. I think JWR, they have Nectar points, which is with Sainsbury's. So I have to admit, I've tried collecting the points with Virgin. I'm not sure if it actually worked when I went up north. And I'm not collecting Nectar points because it was a bit of a pain to sign up because I don't have a true, proper British address. So the other thing I have are hotel apps, so apps like Hilton Honors, who I'm staying with very, very much with here in the UK. So it shows me all my stays with Hilton that are booked. It also guarantees that I get the points and the actual stay credits, so that I can get future vacations that are relatively free. So you can see we've just arrived at Falkirk High. Other apps that are useful. Heathrow has an app. You can actually sign up for a points program that they have, which you can then send those points over to your British Airways account, or you can use them for discounts in shops. Heathrow Express. So Heathrow Express is what I use to get between Heathrow and London Paddington. 15 minutes alternative ways you can get to Paddington is through TfL Rail, which takes you double the time, half an hour, and it's much cheaper. So I'm doing this on business. I'm going to use Heathrow Express, and certainly when Scott comes in, I'm going to use the Heathrow Express for that. Yeah, that's really it. Certainly for Disneyland. Oh, actually, let's talk about Eurostar. So Eurostar has an app. You can get points, so they have a great rewards program. I'm using them about 5 times to get to the mainland Europe. So make sure you sign up for Club Eurostar and get on their points program. Even if you're only using them once on a particular trip, save up your points for future trips, because you never know, you might get that upgrade or a free trip. So for places like Disneyland, every Disneyland park I believe has an app now, and Paris is no exception. So I definitely use their apps to figure out ride times, where things are, etc. So definitely very handy. There's also a Disneyland Paris PhotoPass app. So if you're getting the PhotoPass, make sure you download that app so you can download your pictures and then share them to social media. Other apps that I happen to use, certainly quite a few games. So things like Wizard Unite, Disney Kingdoms, Pokemon Go. Yes, I'm a big kid in a 45-year-old body. Some apps like Fitbit for tracking steps, and certainly news apps, especially going to keep an eye on news both locally. So I use BBC News and CBC for Canadian news. I also use Flipboard, so Flipboard gives me some whimsical news and stuff as well. Other apps, one of the first things I also did when traveling to the UK is certainly check out, do stores that I shop at have apps or reward programs. So Waitrose, I get my my lunches from, because they're very close to the office, and so they sort of have a rewards program, smart discounts and things like that are tied to your account. I haven't found it that useful, but I still track anyway. And then Marks and Spencer's have their Sparks program. That's more of a card-based program. I don't think they have an app, so I haven't actually downloaded an app, but I use their cards and I actually get discounts and things through them as well. If you're a duty-free shopper at Heathrow or Gatwick, read by Dufry, you can get some discounts there, so they have a bit of a rewards program and things like that. One really good program is Citymapper. So Citymapper has worked for me very well in Brussels, Paris, and London. It hasn't worked as well certainly up here yet, but I put in a request to get Edinburgh and Glasgow added to the app. So probably possibly better than Google Maps, because they have, I think, a little bit more up-to-date information, also some local information, local ways to getting from point A to B. So where it used to be the London A to Z guide that people would buy and keep on their person, Citymappers replace that at an app level. What else? Obviously I store a lot of music, weather apps, so whether you use BBC News, the iPhone or Google Android equivalent of the weather app, so always use the weather app. From a wallet standpoint, I have to admit I'm using Apple Pay a lot. I tend not to pull out my card, I just use my phone to pay for everything. Yeah, nothing's standing out from a wallet perspective. Also, although the Heathrow Rewards app has a wallet card available, as do many of the hotel programs. Certain train apps, so some people have recommended like the Trainline for booking trains and things like that. They often have wallet cards as well. Virgin tends not to. The cards are actually in the actual Virgin app itself. And of course hotels, airlines, etc. So not a lot really from a wallet perspective. Actually one other app, EasyJet. So I'm using EasyJet to sometimes fly places. So primarily Berlin, doing that twice, or have already done it once, doing it again. I would probably pick EasyJet for flying to other places as well. And that's it from my recommendations of apps. So do your research, double check to see, hey, what companies are in the area that you're likely to align yourself with for rewards and things like that. And that's the approach I take. All right.